your last name is not Shimada. That's how we can tell.
Yes, and we're going to Game 4. And this time around, BlossoM's actually losing their series against the new team into HGC. This is very surprising result. I thought we had an upset already, but this is going to be an insane one. Feliz actually looking for their very first series win in HGC Korea. They were not even this close. They got close once, but they're just one game away from winning. They can climb up so much higher if they actually beat BlossoM, who's in the middle of the standings right now.
You know, G-Clef, if you have ever done one of those choose your own adventure books where you go through it, it feels like Feliz have been doing that this entire phase of HGC Korea, and they get to the end and then they die. Then they get to the end and they choose a different path. Well, eventually, once you wear the pages enough and go through the story enough times, you know exactly what to pick to get to the victorious end. And feels like they are kind of on the precipice. They've been looking for that elusive series win all season long. Perhaps this is their opportunity.
Perhaps tonight. I think we're going towards the right direction. And for BlossoM, do you still first pick Genji instead of Hanzo? I think the answer is no. As we follow the trend, first pick Hanzo. It's given.
Right there.
It's open.
It's right
there. 2
there.
clicks.
They're not even banning it. Okay. Well, we as casters have this omniscience, right? We can see the entire battlefield. So for us, maybe this is a little bit more obvious. Perhaps even for the greatest drafters in the world, people watching in chat, they may have come to the same conclusion as well. But for the two teams here today, it certainly seems like a little bit more of an elusive, strategy to come across.
Yeah, it looks very obvious, and I think Hanzo. I personally believe Hanzo should be, if it's open, just first pick, not no matter what, depending on your income. But when you have this kind of a team who can actually provide the peels and block CC coming in, like Garrosh this time from OJ was excellent. I have never seen OJ play that well in any of the games before in HGC. Like, it
looks like
honest.
a totally different, not just a different OJ, but like an entirely different team Feliz coming into this week.
Yeah, OJ last week in his Muradin was pretty good, and I was impressed. But this time on his Garrosh, making those super plays, connecting the CC, providing peel for the back line. I mean, he did the perfect job as a frontline tank for the team. But here, finally, again, the losing team picks the map here. Okay. BlossoM lost game number 3, and they're gonna go to Towers of Doom. Maybe this time they want to go for that rotation, as Feliz was still having a problem trying to catch that all up. But I feel like today,
why would they pick this? Okay, all right. Well, I said the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Maybe BlossoM are a little bit crazy coming into this game. There's the Abathur ban. But that Abathur is not a Shimada, and neither is Valkyrian.
What do you do here?
Well, all right. This is where you guys get your thinking emojis ready.
This is super tricky.
Yeah, it's a tough choice.
Only 2. Do you want to guess who wins this game?
We're going all the way.
I think we know the answer. No, never mind. No, because that's not always correct.
Okay.
And also, Genji, I think we have to look at the team comp here, as BlossoM is definitely thinking about Hanzo, but with what else? Do you also pick up a Grey main, like Feliz did in Game 2 and 3, which would provide exactly that. They'll just trade. Provide lots of DPS from the other side, but what else are you going to pair up with? You don't have a support, you may end up losing the support. As Feliz will have very, 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 very likely to have that Genji Uther pair up.
Getting a little bit of deja vu here, G-Clef.
Last time when they picked up Genji, did go for that Tracer Malfurion. Did not work in Game 2. They were trying to accomplish something. They were way too confident. But BlossoM ended up bringing lots of CC right after. So they should know that. Maybe this time around the Nubarak is not banned. Of course, Jondar does not really like to play a Nubarak. But he's super into meta. Lots of CC, can provide some peels. Even the Beatles actually help a lot. Ooh, this time going to be Garrosh once more for Gondar.
All right, I really like that. No longer maybe even a steal away, but just a hero that he plays to great effectiveness. I agree. His tanking top notch, able really to do what Garrosh does best. So very tanky, like you mentioned, lots of CC coming through.
Paired up with Uther, so that's the right pair for Genji, and they do have some peel this time. All they need is maybe a mage, like a Jaina. That has been the meta, the trend, especially for Korea, and lots of other regions also following and going along in the meta.
Yeah, Jaina super good if you're against things like dive comps. The counter very, very possible. Now, Blaze ban. That's actually an interesting one. We haven't seen that banned at all this series, and I think it worked better in Game 3 than it did in Game 1, certainly. But why do you think that warrants a ban here, G-Clef?
Well, if you ask me.
That's what I did.
Well, let's see. The easy one would be Rehgar, because they lack support. Uther taken away, pairs up pretty well with the Grey main often. And also in this map, where they already have Puck, Rehgar can be another dive tool, along with the tank in the front line. Extra source of damage, also go for the kill. Pretty good with the camps. Let's see what else Feliz is thinking. Maybe, I'm pretty sure BlossoM is thinking about the Haka, so maybe that's also on the list.
Oh, it might be that in Nubarak. Or not.
Trust me.
Okay, alright, G-Clef. You're the only one allowed to predict bans here. I tried like twice with super obvious bans, and it didn't work, so.
Oh, I kind of freaked out when Nubarak came up for a second.
I was like, could I be
Whoa, I'm wrong? Guys, I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
What went wrong? I feel like I just have to say as many incorrect things as possible just to make all the correct things you say seem even better. My job here is both to make G-Clef look smart and to make you guys super glad when Wolf comes back next week. So,
no, that's not your job. Your job is to cast with me along.
Okay,
and we're following this one, and this actually was not expected coming in. The series is going all over. At least
all that preparation I did coming into this one, I'm like, okay, I know who's going to come out on top. No, this is Feliz's week. So we'll see if this will indeed be their Navidad, or maybe they'll get their presents another week.
Well, I never thought I was going to hear that right next to me. But here comes ETC. One of the better ones from Gondar. Of course, Garrosh taken away. I think this is a good choice. Also fits the map. They want to go for that early ganks with the big power slide. Now going to pressure in Genji also at the same time. They're just looking for a support now for BlossoM. The Haka having that glow white. As I was mentioning, the Haka ban also might have been a better choice even. Because unless they were going to also take the Haka for in their own hands along with a Falstad or something. But in this case, BlossoM will have that hand on the Haka. Good wave clears for the top lane. Has that global advantage especially when those altars come up, especially the triple one. The Haka will very likely to get one on top and join the team fight at the bottom right after. It's a good tool for BlossoM to have a team fight, and they already have a great team fight, team comp here without the support yet.
Okay, you were talking about maybe seeing Jaina. That's not going to be the mage that comes in here. Instead, it's
a similar mage. They're looking for those resets along with Zeratul to pick up the kill. Similar type of drafting did work, but against that, there is going to be the pump for the save. So there is no reset. Just to make sure there is no reset onto that Genji Strip Strike. And also, all the damage from Li Ming. Is that going to happen all the time? I think a lot of pressure is onto that Divine Palm from Karazim.
Karajim. There we go.
Like Jimmy Raynor.
Karajim Raynor. That's a skin that they need to come out with.
No, that's a different one.
Shout out to you guys in the chat and guys in the studio. A very happy fan who for some reason is now the only thing on our screen. All right, there we go. Other fans on the screen. Those guys are a little bit better at Heroes of the Storm.
Well, in this case, BlossoM, I think they have their comfortable draft here. This case, compared to game number 2 and 3. This works a lot better. Even Karazim, sort of a counter against Li Ming. So it's gonna be a better time for Nasang this time, I think. Well, Uther pair up is with Genji for Feliz.
I really want to see how punished Feliz are for going for the Genji as their Shimada, not only just because the opposing team gets Hanzo, but also the global disadvantage. I mean, that's very, very important here, and Dahaka is going to have that advantage. So like you said, maybe once those triple try and spawn, is that where that's really going to make a big difference for BlossoM. And if BlossoM win this game, then the series continues.
Yes, the series
get renewed for another season.
This time they do have a lot more Caesar in the Fire's Flight, and that will be a kill. Nice drag to start that kill from Wiz. And Gondar, of course, you can tell by the movement as he was going in front to body block, face melt, and then power slide. The perfect combo you have to do to get that kill. Exactly came through.
Very well executed. So, all right, mission accomplished. First blood has been drawn. But what does this mean, and what does this allow BlossoM to do? Looks like, but basically they just dictate the lanes and the rotation towards middle.
Yep.
I saw that on the map. As a play-by-play caster, I felt like my duty to the viewers who can also watch this is to say exactly what they're seeing and really clarify
that. OJ throw and the Q right after. Tutu actually, with the help of the teammates, may survive at the end. Oh, here comes Genji.
Oh, careful. No.
Let's get a trade onto Li Ming.
It was close there for a
not going
second.
to be any more kills happening, but meanwhile Zeratul and Dahaka has been doing their job in their other lanes. Not too much blood spilled.
Nothing flashy. In many ways, them doing their job is very similar to me doing my job. Nothing flashy, but it gets the job done, G-Clef.
And I thought BlossoM could have maybe even called Dahaka to the bottom, look for another kill, but that was not going to happen. Early game Karazim, super strong against Li Ming. Li Ming would have lots of pressure, even towards the end game. Once you have the Illusionist after 13, a little less, but there's a power slide, and OJ, that poor Garrosh did nothing wrong but the mispositioning. And that cost him his life twice now into this game already.
We haven't really seen that much. Actually, I guess game number 2 is kind of constant fighting. But this time it seems like Feliz are really, maybe they're feeling themselves. They're really excited that they're on the brink of their first series win here. But gonna maybe tone it back a level. Getting picked off carelessly early on, of course, can start unstoppable snowballs rolling. Already BlossoM going to break the first wall.
You can tell by the tempo that BlossoM is having. It feels different. It is different in Game 4 because they have that ATC, the early gang potential, the power slide, so much CC.
Much lower.
So much faster, and Feliz can't really keep up with the tempo. I think they should be going slower in their own way. Unless they really want to gank in with Zeratul, try to look for kills, which is not going to be possible too much in this case. There's the peel from ETC, and also Dahaka for the drag. Feliz should be the one being careful here.
Yeah, Feliz don't even have one of those team compositions, at least it seems to me, that need to play the game super, super fast. So a little bit confusing. Garrosh, not too much danger there.
Dahaka actually nice drag canceled by the stun of Luther, but still may not be enough. And there's the kill onto onto Garrosh. Lack of healing, I would say. Luther healing just not enough. Meanwhile, they were losing the duel anyhow.
For me, as soon as I knew as soon as I said that he was going to get out of there alive, he was just instantly dead.
The stun was really good from Uther, but still,
I know a couple of casters that have pretty good curses, but I'm working on one of my own. Yeah, this is what I call the accidental curse, the unintentional curse, where I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I still say something anyway. It's a common trait for play-by-play casters. And this time, of course, it has unintended consequences, which is that the opposite thing immediately happens.
Yep, that's a caster curse. Some people has more, some has less. But there's a big throw with the Q. Even with the bell tower does survive, Nasang comes in for the last second damage, last second healing. Excuse me.
bells live to ring another day. G-Clef.
You always have to be careful when you're against the garage. You try to look for a kill, but turns will actually throw you into a pit that you cannot survive. In this case, was not the correct. Ooh, Gondar, look at his positioning. Notice how much better of an ETC he is compared to everything else today when he played something else like Muradin.
Yeah, it turns out stealing Muradin, not so great. But the
drag,
ETC,
this miss,
really working out.
Was trying to get the drag onto Genji. That was even Franco actually managed to go in with the Swift Strike, does get the last damage onto Greymane, but still lose this camp. So overall, a better trade for BlossoM here, as they also spent their resource to have the Haka come down all the way. So I think they really had to win this one.
And they did. Okay. BlossoM certainly feeling themselves this game. If you just compare this to the way that game number 2 and 3 went, miles different. They're starting to win some tiny skirmishes. They're catching Feliz out. And as we near our first big tribute, this does feel like this is...
Yeah, that was actually also 5 shots. 5 shots all the way in.
Oh, that's right, because they took the bell tower.
Yeah, they took the bell tower. And now that we think, Feliz does have some poke and BlossoM at the same time. So, but still with Li Ming, it will take some time at least, as Tutu's in front, getting that wave cleared very soon. It is not the scatter arrow build, but going for the basic attack, and also the Qs.
So first altar there for, I guess that's second. Wait, how many altars have been taken so far? I'm trying to keep track of that. But certainly BlossoM do have the advantage. They do have that bell tower advantage, and also going to be shoving as many creeps as possible.
But notice how, as I mentioned, one of the most played heroes for myself, Li Ming, always has a hard time against Karazim. Same for Tracer. It's really hard to hit the skill shots, and also Karazim actually does so much more damage than what you can do. You have to be far away. So that's why Aimer is always pressured to the back line, teleport back so you'll be safe back there. But you can't really do the damage if you're always escaping from the combat position.
Oh, Jay, he's playing with fire there. He's like, how much longer can I stay in this fight? The answer is probably not much more.
One of the Sapper actually goes in to the core. That will be 1 more damage, down to 21. And meanwhile, Yaka has been pushing. Genji was trying to clear the mid wave, but they do hit 10, but they can't really come back. Right now, they're not really finding anything to come back into the game, as Divine Palm seems to be the biggest counter against that Li Ming Genji pair.
That's right. We were making Shimada memes earlier, but I think the biggest part was the end of that draft phase for BlossoM.
Ooh, there goes Genji, but Hanzo survived. There's the mosh pit canceled.
No.
But what was that palm? It ignored. Hanata does survive. There's burst damage from Hanzo now. So did survive.
Beautiful Dragon's Arrow there as well. Certainly very effective this time around. As we've seen the other heroic taken, but no, this time pretty good.
For a second, I thought there was a holy cow with that palm around that mosh pit, but
I mean, I'm sure many people in that fight, in a Korean version, said holy cow. That's kind of the way it went. But all right, well, here we go. BlossoM, bigger and bigger advantages, and only 13, 12, 11, 10,
well, at least
9.
they pretended to look like Divine Shield mosh pit for a second. It tricked me for a second. I'm pretty sure it tricked some of the viewers too.
Okay, I feel
that's usually the way.
I feel less bad about being tricked, and I'm also very glad that you know the way.
But still, that was good. That's why we have Li Ming pick from the other side. Wave of Force, a great counter pick against the mosh pit. It was done nicely, but because Hanzo survived, that Dragon's Arrow coming in after, providing some extra damage.
Really big turnaround. I mean, yeah, if Dudu had died there, that fight looks totally different.
Yes.
And maybe even, I mean, you go in with the mosh pit and you're like, okay, well, this is the way we want to start off the fight.
Look at that! Look at that! Nasang giving all that movement speed for Tutu, for him to do maximum amount of poke. And they can't even get close to the range of taking the spell tower back. There's no way.
Let them out. They just want to play Heroes of the Storm. Oh no.
They are playing Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, well.
Well, there's 3 more shots. There was I think they could have pressured a little bit, but 3 more shots, 4 down to 6. BlossoM is taking this one easy as Wiz is just waiting for his moment, but happily just clearing waves top and mid.
And they're not actually allowed to take this altar because it would be, it'd give Seth Feliz at 1 health, and that just doesn't look as pretty as getting
And
the 6th.
that's why they're gonna
bell
come
tower.
around, but there's a power slide. Mosh pit not
Ooh,
even
OJ.
used. Ooh.
Gets taken out there, and I think this fight is about to go from bad to worse. Dudu actually, it's a miracle every time I watch, but this time Li Ming will actually take him out there at the end.
There's a mosh pit, still was not used. Nasang just chunking down. Greymane comes for the last bit of damage. Swift strikes away, but still, this game is going towards the end. 4 shots, 5 shots actually fired.
Yep.
1 more sapper will be GG, and it seems like
Here we
Feliz,
go.
they have given up. There's no way of coming back into the game, and that's going to be game, ladies and gentlemen. BlossoM will come back into the series with a 2-2. Seems like we are having a full series rapid.
Man, just look at the looks on BlossoM's faces. They were feeling a little bit rough after that last game, thinking, wait a second, are we about to be the first team to lose to Feliz? Well, after a win in game number 4, they are certainly not going down without a fight. Will this be a victory for the pretty keyboard caps or for the keyboards without caps on them? We're about to find out.
Without the pink-blue caps on them. Of course, BlossoM having their pink as their side, but you can, everyone, even if you're watching Heroes of the Storm for the first time, you should have noticed the difference that BlossoM had in their tempo, their pressure into the camps, on the style. They knew exactly how much they could pressure, what they could do with the CC. Even the Garrosh was always cut out from the CC. He couldn't provide himself. Uther was not even close. Uther would have been dead along with him if he was close, trying to heal him back. So those were the big tools. But Gondar on his ETC played like a mad cow there, almost. ETC. Those mosh pits, he was waiting for the perfect moments. It was cancel a few times from Li Ming, but if you can never take those bell towers back, if you can never get into their range because of that trend that we've been talking about, I think that's continuing, maybe even into Game 5.
All I'm saying is that while many things have changed, one thing has been kind of consistent. So we'll see which trends continue and whether or not I am able to survive this series without making any more, questionable calls.
Well, there were a few, and also there were a few questionable calls from Feliz. I think if they wanted to come around, they should have done that minutes ago. I think this game really showed that they lacked experience in this case, and BlossoM really pressured in because the moment you have the momentum as a more experienced team, and you get that feeling, oh, they have no idea how to handle this.
Right.
And then you just keep on doing the same thing until they kind of find an answer. But when that moment hits, BlossoM, usually the more experienced team, they already have the answer for the plan B.
Well, especially when you consider BlossoM a team that you would consider to be better than Feliz, at least just when you look at their record. A team that is better than the teams that they're playing against. They spend more time with an advantage. They know what that feels like. They know, okay, well, we're used to having a lead, so here's what we do with it. In games 2 and 3, you could tell that they really just kind of felt lost almost. They're like, well, we don't really know what this feels like. That was a little bit rough for them, but they battle back, take us all the way to a deciding game number 5. It feels kind of strange